Good evening, everyone. This is Donald. Welcome to the third edition of Fond Memories. This past week, I had an opportunity to officiate a volleyball game at a new gymnasium at a school called Stern School. Stern School is located down on Kearny Street near Chinatown between Washington Street and Jackson. The building itself is relatively new, so if you happen to drive by or walk by and look at it, you may wonder, is there a history behind this location? And there actually is a lot of history behind this location. Most of that history belongs to what was formerly known as the International Hotel. So for tonight's edition of Fond Memories, let's delve into the history of the International Hotel and how we got to this new building that exists today. The International Hotel was a single occupancy residential hotel for low-income Asian Americans and Filipino Americans. It was established, according to written history, sometime in the mid-1850s, around 1854, at a location that wasn't specified in San Francisco. At some point in the 1873, it was relocated to the Kearny Street location where I just talked about the school, between Washington and Jackson. That original iteration of the hotel was destroyed in the 1906 San Francisco earthquake before being rebuilt in 1907. From 1907 onward to the 1920s and 30s, the hotel was home to thousands of seasonal Asian American laborers who came to live there to just do their seasonal jobs. Because of the influx of the seasonal workers, the surrounding area around the hotel grew and developed with small businesses, small shops, and whatnot, and that area later became known as Manila Town, or San Francisco's Manila Town. The hotel and the Manila Town community persisted through until the 1960s, when a urban renewal and redevelopment phase came into San Francisco. That movement impacted the African American community when it destroyed thousands of businesses and relocated a lot of residents in the San Francisco Fillmore district. As it related to the International Hotel and the many Asian and Filipino American folks who lived there, the hotel itself, the International Hotel, was targeted for demolition so that it could be redeveloped into a parking lot, at least was the initial plan. Due to the plan, many Asian Americans, many Filipino Americans, and even one famous person, Jim Jones, of the People's Movement, stood up and tried to fight for the rights of the residents that lived there, as well as to preserve the hotel. The fight lasted for many, many years, but ultimately the battle was lost in the August of 1977 when the San Francisco police came in and evicted the remaining residents of the hotel. After the hotel was emptied out, it stayed around until 1981 when the building was finally demolished. And with the demolition, it was expected that the empty lot would be home to some businesses. So let's talk about what happened after the demolition. So as I mentioned, after the demolition of the International Hotel on Kearny Street, there was an expectation that the land would be redeveloped into some form of business. However, the land remained empty for many, many years. Even as a child, when I would go into Chinatown or be in the area, since that plot of land is close to parking lots and a park, I would always be around that area, and I'd always be curious as a young kid, like, why is this empty? It's kind of rare to have any empty spots in such a dense city in San Francisco. But it is what it is. The land remained empty for many years up until the year 1994, when the Archdiocese of San Francisco agreed to purchase the land from the current owners. The plan was, from the Archdiocese perspective, was to split that plot of land into two developments. One was to include a new addition of the International Hotel. The other part of the plan was to build a new building for the St. Mary's Chinese Catholic Centers and School. St. Mary's itself has a long history in Chinatown. As a former student of St. Mary's for 3 years, I will cover the history of St. Mary's itself, because that's part of the discussion of why I mentioned Stern School, but we'll get into that in a future discussion. But if we were to go back into the context of the International Hotel, the reason why the Archdiocese was pushing for this was that the St. Mary's building, the original building that the St. Mary's Chinese Catholic Center and School needed a new building, was that the original building, which was located on Stockton Street, on the corner of Stockton Street and Clay Street in Chinatown, had been damaged in the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. Those of you who lived in the Bay Area will obviously remember the earthquake for many reasons. One, obviously the earthquake was very big, like 6.9 or 7.0. A portion of the Bay Bridge fell. But also there was, remember the 1989 Battle of the Bay between the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants. But from a St. Mary's perspective, the original building had been damaged due to the earthquake. Not terribly, at least from an outward perspective, but enough damage that there needed to be repairs done. But also because of new rules that were put in play, the building needed updating to accommodate for accessibility or ADA issues, to accommodate people maybe who had physical handicaps. And the Archdiocese and St. Mary's did an evaluation of the cost to repair the school, add the ADA, and the cost was, I don't know what the cost was, but it was fairly high. But also in getting the ADA at the building updated, it would cause the school itself to lose potentially up to 25% of usable space at the building. So the Archdiocese decided, and along with St. Mary's, that it may be better to just try to get a new building, and thus the plan was hatched to purchase the land from the property owners of the International Hotel site and get everyone on board, including the folks who supported International Hotel, to co-develop the property. And thus that's why the land itself was purchased in 1994. So while the land itself was purchased in 1994, from the International Hotel perspective, construction did not begin on the International Hotel portion until around 2003, with the new International Hotel being completed around 2005. The new International Hotel contained 105 units of senior housing, with any living members of the original International Hotel who were evicted given priority if they wanted to stay at the hotel, and any remaining units of the hotel being passed out to other people by a lottery system. Obviously with the new hotel, there's remnants of memories and remnants of the old hotel. There's a community center on the ground floor, and also a mural art display commemorating the old International Hotel. And obviously there's probably a lot more history than I'm aware of, but with the new International Hotel being built, it would look like that the fight that began back in the late 60s into the late 70s for the tenants had finally been won, and the new International Hotel was living again. With that being said, let me wrap up my discussion on International Hotel and talk about what's next. So, wrapping up tonight's edition of the video blog on the International Hotel, I thought it was important to share this history for a couple of reasons tonight. One, given the importance of the International Hotel on Asian American activism, I wanted this history to be shared. Just like many other things Asian American related, sometimes a lot of these topics are just talked about within Asian American communities, Asian American studies classes, whatever you want to think about. But hopefully this, just me sharing among friends, hopefully people will get a broader understanding of some of the stuff that Asian Americans have to fight through as well. Number two, on a more personal level, I mentioned it quite a few times about St. Mary's, but I wanted to talk about the International Hotel because without the International Hotel, the fight to the original hotel without the help of the folks who helped get the new International Hotel built, we'd likely not even be able to talk about a new St. Mary's building. I don't know if it was even possible at the time back in the day for St. Mary's or the Archdiocese to get the new building done without the hotel. Could have just been done by itself. Not sure. That'd probably be a future discussion. Maybe I can ask some folks. But given the importance of the International Hotel both in the past and also with the present of the new building, I thought it'd be good to share the history first, because without it, really, again, there might not be a new St. Mary's building. But going back to St. Mary's for a second here, the reason why I kind of passed on talking about it, didn't want to mix it up, was I didn't want to go on too long. St. Mary's itself has a very long and at the end a very complicated history in terms of what happened after the work on the new building started. So I will discuss all of that in the future and get another edition of Fond Memories down. Now, again, I don't have a lot of memories of the International Hotel, the eviction, the demolition. I mentioned the empty lot that I saw as a kid, and that's pretty much what I remember. So in some sense, you know, it's not my traditional fond memories, but a bit more of a history lesson in of itself. But hopefully everyone enjoyed a slightly different take on fond memories tonight. In any case, if anyone has any feedback, commentary, feel free to let me know on Facebook, on the YouTube comments, send me a message privately, whatever works for you. But I hope everyone enjoys their week, and I will have a new edition of Fond Memories at some point next week. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a great evening. Take care.